Welcome back and many thanks for staying with us right here on the #1 breakfast show in the country, Morning at NTV. My name, of course, is Romeo Busiko. We'd like to talk about a great short film, 16 rounds, courtesy of the director, Loukman Ali. He's already here. He's going to be letting us in on some of the modalities that came around when he was shooting this very, very nice short film. And he will also be explaining why it was totally short. Well, if you look at it, one of the actors, Michael Wawoyo, was grappling with post-traumatic stress disorder back in the days of the war when he was fighting. He was grazed by a bullet. Fast forward, he was actually dating Natasha Sinayobi, a very, very young, beautiful lass within this movie. But then she was cheating on him. She was cheating on him, so he devised the plan to actually divorce her and also ensure that she doesn't get a single coin from that divorce. But then for that to happen, he had to ensure that he proves that the woman was actually cheating on him in that regard. There are a lot of convolutions within this short film. I cannot actually preempt. I'd like to just let you take a watch of this short film. All right, Teko, let's run the short film. Right, Loukman, 16 rounds, like I did mention. Well, one of the actors, Michael Wawoyo, was grappling with post-traumatic stress disorder. He had been grazed by bullets back in the day when he was fighting in the war. Well, when he was living with this woman, he noticed Natasha Sinayobi was actually cheating on him. So he devised a plan with some of his friends and lawyers to ensure that after the divorce, the woman does not take a single coin. But for that to happen, he needed to prove that she was cheating on him. But then the chick was way ahead of him. She had a camera in the house and she knew about the whole plot. All right, you need to go and watch that short film on YouTube. You just have to type in 16 rounds so that you are in the know. There are so many twists and turns within that movie. A very good morning, Loukman Ali and Andrew Kagwa. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
All right, tell us about this movie.
What can I say that you haven't said?
Well, I haven't said most of the parts.
Well, pretty much,
yes.
I think it's so difficult to describe in words because it's like a 30 minutes short film. So you can't really describe it all in a few minutes. I would advise you to go and watch it on YouTube.
I know.
But it's pretty much about what you just said. You know, there's a couple and the relationship is going sour. So they're both trying to get a divorce from each other, but no one wants to be the one that says it. So.
Because when you say it, you don't get a coin?
Well, I don't really know how it works. I haven't divorced before, but from what I've seen from other films, it looks like if you have proof that the other person is cheating, then they don't get anything. Then you can, I guess you can walk away with your money. I don't really know.
But I was highly disappointed that the movie was highly too short. I figured you could have done more if that 1.5 hours, because it was only 37 minutes. But if you look at his time in the war, Michael Wawoyo, we could have some good 30 minutes on that, explaining what happened during the war, how did the post-traumatic stress disorder come about, how did he get on Valium, and why did the woman start switching his medicine. You know, I watched the whole thing and I had more questions after watching the whole clip. I mean, why did you choose to make it a short film? Was it you choosing to make it a short film, or was it because of finances?
It's definitely because of finances.
All right.
It's incredibly expensive to make a film.
Indeed.
I mean, just this short film, it pretty much cost more than 60 million. And it's a short film.
60 million, 37 minutes.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And this is like not paying anyone any kind of like standard fees. This is more like, hey, you're my friend, can I buy you lunch? You're my friend, can you do this for me?
Right.
So just trying to secure locations and doing all these different, because when you watch it, you'll see that the production value is quite high. Like when you're looking at it,
picture quality,
it looks decent.
The
enough,
sound,
you know?
yes.
So it's incredibly expensive, and I mean, if we had any support, we would have made it longer.
Indeed.
Even make a series, but it has to do with money.
And that's why so many experts contend that we could be having so many creatives within this country, but then their goals, are being dampened by the fact that they do not have the finances to kickstart these projects.
Yeah, and sometimes it's not even about the finances alone. Even there's policies that support what we're doing. Because when we were shooting this film, we were pretty much kicked out of every single location we went to. Like most locations we would go to, they would kick us out.
Why?
I think it's people just don't respect or have they don't know that that industry is doing anything. They don't really, they have no reason to respect it, because if someone was shooting a music video for a prominent artist, people would see the artist and they would know what they're doing, and they would I guess they would be a bit more sympathetic. But with us, we had an issue where pretty much everywhere we went to shoot, a few minutes in and we'd just see people surrounding us. What are you guys doing? You know, since we're shooting an action film with people, you know, binoculars, guns, people get a bit strange.
I see.
Quite quickly. So if we had policies that, you know, enable us to do some of these things and not have issues with, like if we had a place where we can apply for, let's say, permits and someone we could talk to about some things, and I think that would make it easier before we even get to the financing part.
Is it the only challenge besides finances?
There are lots of challenges. Please, like any other industry, there, I mean, countless. There's some I can't even remember right now, but there's so many of them. The
president is watching and would like to know what kind of challenges you grapple with.
All these different things that we deal with, because I think if we had that whole issue of copyrights sorted out, I think artists would start getting money from their work, which in turn would make them it would make them wealthy enough.
So this content is on YouTube. I've been talking to the CEO of your TV channels, that is Agre Mugisha, and he said he didn't have Loukman Ali 16 rounds on his platform. So I was wondering, what are you doing to distribute this movie locally to our people so that they could also enjoy it?
So the issue I've always had with the industry that I'm in was the fact that I couldn't find any Ugandan content. I'm a filmmaker, so I know that that person made a film, that person made a film. I couldn't find them. So if I can't find them, then how can people that are not aware of these people find it? So my solution to that was to make a couple of short films and put them out online for free.
Yes.
And the reason for this was to have Ugandans see that we're improving. And once they know that we are improving, the moment we start selling our content, they'll know that it's worth paying for. So that was the whole reason I put it on.
So it's free on YouTube. So how are you making any money?
I'm not making any money. It's kind of like a kind of a sacrifice, if you will.
All right, but you need to talk to Agre Mugisha. Get this content on your TV channel app. He'll be paying you for all that great work that you are actually working on. All right, let's also bring in Andrew Kagwa, an arts and culture journalist with the Daily Monitor. Let's critique this short film. What makes it different? Why is this short film a hit? 40,000 people actually on YouTube.
First, I would want to start with some of the things you asked. One, the intention was for it to be a short film. Like it's a genre. Like people should make short films. It's a format of making films.
But you can also take advantage of that genre because there is no money.
When you're trying to, like, there are many reasons why
it's
people.
Not always about money.
Yeah, there are many reasons why people make short films. One of them being. Maybe starting a narrative. Like at the moment in Uganda, most of the people believe our films are bad. Like that's a fact. And then when it comes to our friends abroad, when you talk about Ugandan film, they'll be like, oh, who killed Captain Alex? Like I've received that in Kenya, in South Africa. Like every place I go to, you talk about a Ugandan film and they say, who killed Captain Alex? And they are not saying this from a respect point of view. Like, and I'm not disrespecting Nabwana. They are not saying this from a respect point of view. They are saying this in a way like, oh, so what? That's the best you guys can do. They are not like looking at us.
Think about offhead.
Yeah. So I know some people would come up and do a short film because they want to change the narrative. They want to change the way people are looking at Ugandan films. Because I know he did Blind Date. Before Blind Date, I know Swanks did Rolex, which was also a high value kind of film. Like most of the times it's to change the narrative, to make people know that we are not the bad industry you think we are. We can actually do these good things. And then of course something else I wanted to tell you is some of the issues most filmmakers are facing is the fact that like you see, in 2015, I think if you wanted to do a short film like this, you would feel like we have a lot of people to do the work. You would feel like, yeah, I know this cinematographer, I know this guy who does sound. But right now, when I think Multi Choice came up and put money in Sanyu Prestige, and all these people needed a very, very efficient teams. Right now we go to that point where we realize, like, okay, the manpower we have is not that much as we thought. The sound people we thought we had are not as many as we thought. Like right now, if you are doing 316 rounds at the same time, like if 3 different people decided to do films like 16 rounds and they are shooting at the same time, you will see chaos. Like you might fail to find some cameras, like you find the lights are out somewhere and then they have to be there until they are done so that you can get them here. So anyway, those are some of the issues, but just to get back on what makes the film special. I think most of the times we've not taken our short film serious. Like it's something I wrote a Facebook post about. Most people have been thinking it's just a short, and they take the mentality of it's just a short to their first feature, and then before you know that they do a second feature they don't really care about, and then it becomes a habit why a film just comes out because it's just a film. I've done films before. And it happens and we forget about it. The whole process of this film, I was on this set when they were shooting. I was there for 2 days and I looked at the sets. It was very intentional. Many of the things were very intentional. The lighting was quite very intentional.
Yes.
Like you knew, because when you're building a set,
yes,
you can control pretty much of the environment. Because you've built a set, you can control where the light is going to come from. You're not going to be distracted by some sunlight that's coming out of a space you did not plan for. Like you're planning for everything. Like I noticed how they planned for everything. The lighting was intentional. And then when you look at many of the things in the film, the few details, like there was that doll. When I was watching, I did not pay attention to the doll. Like it fell, and then I think Michael was trying to catch it, and then she was like, "No, let me get it." Like I did not pay attention to it. I was like, "Okay, yeah, it's happening. Probably that's meant to show us that the couple has chemistry or something." And then it turned out the doll was something more. Like it was moving this.
You could have been able to tell that there was no chemistry there. When he told her, "I'm going to meet my mother," she was like, "Okay, fine." So on his way out, you know, since they are a couple, you'd expect them to kiss.
Yeah,
as he came forward for the lips, she put the cheek. That's when I realized, okay, something is wrong here.
Something was wrong, but remember, these were all pretenders.
Yes.
They were all pretenders. Like they were all trying to show, like maybe this thing is working, and yet it wasn't working. So when you ask me what's special, I think a lot. The production value, on the other side, the soundtracks, the story itself. I think I would tell him it's not my best film from him. Like I've seen others from him that I like more, but it's a good film. It's a good film, and I'm not saying it's a good film on a Ugandan basis because we love saying that for a Ugandan it's a good. No, it's a good film.
But do you highly believe that this could be turned into a lengthier film, like 1.5 hours, if you will? If you look at the content, I really feel they can maximize it, increase the budget, come up with another, version of the same movie.
One of the biggest problems we got in Uganda with our film industry was storytelling, and where that came from was people were trying to stretch stories into a feature. Like we have very many films on the market that would have been shorts. But someone decided to stretch it, and before you knew, you were thinking, okay, why are we still here?
Yes.
So it works for a short right now. If they can write and they can compact it, because one of the most important things about a film is that each and every frame, each and every shot, each and every scene must contribute to the story. You can't have a scene for the sake of it.
Indeed.
Yeah, so personally I'm okay with it being a shot at the moment.
But let's talk about some of the challenges that are actually befalling some of our actors and the creative people in this industry. He talked about policies that need to be instituted. He talked about finances and so forth. In your perspective as an arts and culture journalist, what do you think is actually pulling this industry back, and what needs to be done in that regard?
Cheers. That's a very lengthy question. But okay, what's pulling the industry back? Geez. like everything is still wrong when it comes to administrative. Like everything is still wrong.
I hear you.
I have a feeling the people that are running the industry, okay, are they the ones running the industry? Is UCC running the industry? Like I don't know, but I think those ones who we consider to be running the industry do not really understand the industry as much. Maybe they know how to put up a flashy festival. At the moment, I like some of the things they are doing, like trying to put up a fund and grants. That's good, but at the moment they do not understand the industry as much. And when I say they do not understand it as much, one, I keep saying if these people can easily wake up and ask NTV to broadcast the president's speech without further questions asked, they're like, the president is speaking at this time, all TVs will show him. Like, why is it so hard for these TVs to have local content? Like, why is it so hard? Why is it so hard for cinemas to have local movies at their places, yet it's so easy for UCC to actually go and take over these same cinemas for a week when they're having a festival?
I see.
So many of the things that are many of the things we are still having as problems are due to a fact that we do not have consistency. Like at times I can turn a blind eye when it comes to the quality of films we are making, because trust me, when the Bebekos came onto this market, their music was bad. But one of the things that helped them improve was the fact that there was consistency in the radio stations that are playing them, and there was consistency in them producing. At the moment we have some bit of consistency with the productions. I will not say they are very good productions, but people are producing the bad work, the mediocre work, and the good work. People are producing it, but we do not have consistency when it comes to exhibition, because very few filmmakers in this country can afford to put a movie in cinema, and they leave it there for, like, what would be the best time for a film to actually, for many Ugandans to watch it? Because films are the kind of art that people come to watch because they've been referred to. Like, I'll watch this film and they'll be like, oh, it's a good film, and then you watch it and you tell someone, by the way, it's a good film. They also watch it. So when it comes to our films in cinemas, they'll be in cinema on the day they premiere, because that's what they can afford. And then I'll go and talk about it, but then the person I tell cannot go and see it because the producer could only afford putting the movie in the cinema for the day it was premiering.
I see. So many hurdles you had to overstep, Mr. Loukman Ali, to be able to come up with this movie. A challenge that so many of our creatives in this country could not actually circumvent. Many are still grappling, they're still sitting on their work. What kind of advice would you have for them as creatives moving forward?
I honestly, I think, I don't know, because it's extremely difficult that you have to be very creative in not only how you do the work, but pretty much how you do everything, like even how you approach. For me, I approach it pretty much the same way I guess Hollywood would approached Hollywood in the 70s or in the, like, I feel like we need to kind of like restart the whole thing. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm not saying that everything else is not as good. I'm just saying that I think we need to change tactics, because the world has changed a lot. I mean, if cinemas have been closed for close to what, a year now?
2 years now. I think we're getting to 2 years.
2 years, yeah. So it means that things are changing, and I personally think that maybe the future might actually be in shorts, given how short the attention spans are, and if someone is not in cinema,
right,
they really don't have a reason to watch a whole 2 hours, because if they're watching from home a whole 2 hours film, they're going to be on their phone, like a few minutes on the phone, so they won't follow up the whole story. So I'm thinking if the future might be in making short kind of episodic things if you have
That
a
keeps the
feature,
viewer
if you have
wanting
a feature film, then you break it up in like 4 parts and release them. So that's
And this is the plan for 16 rounds?
it was the plan for that,
Was.
because I have the blind date 16 rounds, and then I was supposed to make a third one that kind of connects the both of the films. But it gets harder the more you do it, because it just gets more expensive. Because I mean, every time you do one, the next one has to be better, because
Actually,
you learn.
that's a trailer for The Blind Date.
Yeah, so you learn more from whatever you do. So I make the blind date, make a couple of mistakes there, then I learn. I have to change them on the next one,
Right.
and that sometimes becomes more expensive.
You know, at some
It
point when I
becomes
was
harder
watching,
harder.
and you know, he started sewing off the guy's legs, I thought, oh, is this a horror movie? And everything changed so quick. I was waiting for a part where, you know, the movie corresponds with the title of the short film, which is 16 rounds. And I was like, okay, where are the 16 rounds? What happened to that part? Why 16 rounds as a name?
It is actually there. I don't know if
it is there.
And what
It
part do
is
they-
there.
Yes.
Okay, a gun usually has 16 rounds.
Yes. But this guy fired one,
so
she
this-
had removed the
Yes,
rest.
but if you see that part where she's holding the rest in her hands, those are the 16 rounds.
But what was her end game? That he was going to use this one bullet and not finish him? Because if he had aimed for the head, she would
I have
have
a feeling she knew him that much,
Yes.
but at that point, even if he had killed her, he wouldn't have been able to kill himself.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
So I mean, when you're making films, you can't really
Alright.
think for the characters. Sometimes you have to just let them do what their character.
I loved everything, and in the near future, Loukman Ali, just seek for my services. I want to be engaged in some of these projects, free of charge, Mr. Loukman Ali, because I want to put a stepping stone.
Are you
on
pitching
these
yourself?
initiatives. Indeed, I'm already pitching myself, and we would also like to pitch the president of the country, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, to invest more money into the movie industry, into the creative industry, so that more people like Loukman Ali can actually, yes, be able to distribute their work. Also, what is the future of the movie or creative industry?
I guess it depends on the future of the country.
Indeed.
Depends on how the whole country goes, because people can't watch movies if they're not happy. So I guess every industry has to have a boost, I guess, so that I mean, you wouldn't watch a movie if you're hungry.
Indeed.
Yeah, so I guess everything has to come up, and it will make the industry better in a way.
All right.
It's a bit vague, but
Final parting shots to you, Andrew Kagwa, future of the industry.
One, I've been a journalist since 2014, and I still remember being on sets in 2014. A lot has changed, a lot when it comes to the technical side of it.
Right.
Like, we have better cinematographers today. People are doing better with editing. People are doing better with sound. So I think one thing that the industry needs to fix at the moment should be the storytelling, considering the fact that many people want to do as many features. When you're doing a feature, it's more taxing when it comes to the way you tell a story. We need to fix our storytelling.
All right. In that sphere, Loukman Ali, seek for my services, storytelling and acting. I'll be able to put a stepping stone on your initiatives. Thank you very much, Loukman Ali. Also, Andrew Kagwa, for having made the time to speak to us this very beautiful Friday day.
Thanks for having us.
All right, indeed. You are still watching Morning at NTV. A break is in the offing. We'll return shortly.